Let's talk about image replacement and watermarking. Under the clips controls here, the icon with the photo, these are the controls for either replacing the image or having a watermark. And let me show you the differences and when these are going to be applied. Watermarks a little faster, easier to explain. I'm sure you can already guess what it is. You can throw down an image and have it be a watermark for your clip. There's these relational, excuse me, if I can speak English before I've had my coffee. You can snap them to these coordinal directions or center, and if you snap it into any one of these directions, you can also offset, scale the image if you want it, like if it's already pretty large and you have to scale it down, you can do that easily. The Obviously it's gonna affect the quality of the image that you have, so it's better to just generate the image in a program at the size that you want. But I do note what the original size is, so as you're playing around with the different resolutions, you can kind of keep track of what it means relative to the output. Now you will see a visualization of the outputted image here as it's going to be generated. When you switch the resolution, it'll keep the proportions all the same to what the video is going to be. So it is nice to keep an eye on what it is relative to the video that you're dealing with. But like I was saying, you can also do an offset. And so like here, I want to offset it, from the edges and up. Real simple, and that offset will maintain relative to what you're doing. So in this case, I'm offsetting X positive, off to the right is positive, and Y positive, up is positive, very much like math class in school. However, it's not relative to these coordinates. It's relative to where they are. Obviously, as you can see, it's cutting off now that it's going up 24 units. So in this case, I actually want it down a certain number of units to have that offset. So in this corner, I need it to be positive again. So you can kind of play around with that and scale it. You can incrementally adjust it and kind of nudge it into exactly how and where you want it. I can also play with the opacity if you want to have it very faint. You don't need to do that yourself in your like Photoshop. You can have a transparent PNG, but then the background's transparent, but the image itself is solid, and you can kind of fade this to what you want. You don't have to set that yourself. Now, of course, you can deal with the opacity yourself in the original image that you're importing. If it's a PNG, that's fine. Now, if I had multiple clips, this button clones it to all the others. So now every single one of these clips also has that watermark. And likewise, if I wanted to remove it and just not have it, I can also, copy that, and all of them are no longer set up with that watermark. Reverting doesn't revert the image, it only reverts these settings back to their original non-scale, non-offset positions and 100% opacity. So that's watermarking. It's very simple. You can, again, I should mention, holding down the Option key, you can copy those settings to all clips in all videos. If you're batch processing a bunch of stuff and you have your little corporate logo that you want to throw onto all of them, just hold down the Option key, click that, and you've just duplicated that across everything. Very, very simple. Very simple. So let us actually get into the meatier conversation here with replace. Now, replace, what it does is it replaces the video itself with a static image. And you can, I mean, let's just go ahead with the watermark since I was showing that off to show the difference. It replaces the full video clip with that image. Now, it's great for end credits or intros, or you can do that kind of stuff. However, what this is also really powerful for is correcting visual flaws within your video, and I'll show you in a second. But I want to point out that what this does is, this is the original size, but what it does when you replace the image is it scales it into the dimensions in which your output resolution is going to be exporting to. So in this case, it's expanding it out. You can see it's a little fuzzy. That is just because this image was so small and really bad for expanding out. I can do it even larger, and we can really go into 4K. And it's going to look pretty bad, but it will fill the entire 4K screen with that. Now, you can see my image itself, it's kind of off to it's right up to the very edge, and that is that expansion that I was talking about, and you can't offset it here. But what you can do in this other control, I have another video about this, is you can actually, for the clip here, because you're overriding the image on the clip, you want to override the scale here as well, and you can drop this scale down, and it will pull in from the sides, and you can position it a little more in the same kind of relative offsets. So you do have those options to use this in combination. All of these settings will affect the replaced image itself. You can really go to town with it. Now, it'll be consistent with the video that you're doing. If you do apply these types of things here, consistency between what it was on the video and what you're doing here, you can override and have those same settings to have this be the same general color. So if you have a logo and say you're exporting a black and white movie, but you want your logo in black and white, you can affect that here and override it here. You don't have to create a new image or do anything like that. So it's real fast and simple to be consistent with your video. But it does letterbox it. So like I'm gonna pick, let's see, we've got a portrait video for exporting video to something like TikTok or Instagram. It will letterbox it in the replacement here that you saw. I'm gonna revert this back to full scale so you can see better, but it will letterbox into the very center of the image by default, unless, like I said, you kind of come in here and change this around, and you can offset this as well if you want something up here, because on TikTok or on Instagram you're throwing in some text, or there's the controls down here. You can do that. But so you can have your full video and just throw in a little clip in between of like your logo, stuff like that. However, what the power that this really, let me just kind of revert this, the power that really exists for doing this, let me go back to what we're talking about here with this clip, is when you have colors. Let's also get rid of that too. Okay, when you come in and you have a video, and there it is. You get this little bit there. You see it kind of a little glitch going on. And then over and here, I believe it's right around here. Let's just kind of step through it. I have another glitch where it just flickers very briefly. very, very subtle little flicker. Now I've converted VHS tapes where it's a white flash and it's very aggressively obvious. This is a little more subtle with
unplug and use as a cordless appliance.
With that flicker. It's not too bad, but stuff like this you can correct very easily with this replace image. Now this, it just kind of gets darker, so you could probably go in here and tweak, maybe you tweak the luminosity on this clip and you customize it so you kind of make it brighter, and so something like that. For this example, there's other ways you can kind of correct that issue. But with replace image, the power of it is that you can come in and let's just find that spot again. Right there. Okay, so I'm going to capture just right around it. And normally when you clip a segment, you've got your entire video here, and then you've got a secondary clip after it. And when you merge these, it'll append them. So a little repeat of that clip will happen after it. However, what you can do, and if just as a reminder, if you hold down the Option key, instead of deleting, it reverts a clip. It reverts it back onto the timeline here. It's a little hard to see because it's so small. It's such a small clip, but it reverts it into the working clip controls. But this button, Punch Out, what it does is it splits that video, and it's now cut out of the video. Actually, it threw it down at the bottom, which it really should be in the middle. That's a little bug. I'll have to look into that, why it does that. Normally it does keep what you punched out in the middle, but this is a perfect opportunity to talk about that this program is in beta and is available on TestFlight. If you download, link is in the description of the YouTube channel. If you download the beta of Video Barbershop and send me feedback, take a screenshot or let me know some little oddity that you hit, or not even bugs, just a weird feature. Maybe you don't even know this is a bug. Just like, this would be more useful if it wasn't at the bottom, if it was actually relative to the clips themselves. In this case, it is a bug. It should do this. It should put that little clip you're trying to edit right in the middle and not at the end. But please do. I'd greatly appreciate it. So anyway, getting back to this, so here's that clip of just basically 3 frames. And so what we can do is take, let's just take this image, and we'll take a screenshot of that, and I'm gonna throw it in here with the same video here. And so takes a screenshot. When you take a screenshot, it takes a screenshot of the video at the export resolution that you have selected here. And so you can take a screenshot of exactly what this video frame is going to be, and then you can go in and replace this entire clip with that screenshot. So now there is no flicker. And it's such a small segment in here that you may not even notice it. Luckily, this was a very quick transition, but we can just export. We just merge the clips together, throw it in here, and take a look at what we got.
Presto Hot Topper Melter Dispenser. Melts butter, warms sauces and syrups in minutes. Unplug and use as a cordless appliance.
So see, it's right around here is where that flicker happened, and you can't even notice. I believe it was right around here, but you can't even notice really the difference in the frames. It's just a fraction of a frame difference. Now this pop is still in there and occurring, and we could do exactly the same thing. You can go in and off on the video itself, not having a clip selected, find that position there where the frame really pops. I'm gonna see if we can find, well, you get the point. You can do exactly the same thing. You can actually, I did exactly the one thing that I didn't want to do. Oh, let's undo that, undo that, undo that. And this clip, this is the one that I didn't want to do. So, like I was saying, you can punch it out, and there we go. That one actually did it correctly. It flags the clip and then throws them in there around it. So again, you can take a screenshot and swap it out. Now you could get down to the frames and swap them out, and you could have a ton of this. This video itself is riddled with all sorts of pops and flickers, and it'd be quite a pain to clean this all up, but technically you can. It's more than capable. You might get a little hitching from the fact that there's motion here, and the positions of them are going to be a little off. But it's going to be a lot better than these large black flickers, or in some cases white flickers. But that is image replacement for how you can correct flaws in especially VHS tapes. So it's very simple in this app to correct that kind of stuff. All right. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, and thank you for downloading this and giving it a try, especially if you send me feedback. Take care.